Thanks for tuning in to the PLR podcast. We are live in the Turtle Shell with Daniel from Pondering this week. He's going to join us for the whole episode. What's going on, Daniel?
Nothing much. Just hanging out, living life, suffering.
Suffering. Life is suffering.
The struggle.
As always, if you like what you hear, follow us on all of the social medias, and then also find our Patreon page. There's some bonus content there. I have the final episode of the 5-part series on the German Social Democratic Party coming out. It's a hot ticket. It's all about the collapse of that party, which is great dramatic history. And we got half episodes coming out they can look forward to. And so I just want to say off the bat that if you drive a car that looks even vaguely like a cop car, you are my mortal enemy. You know what I'm talking about? Like the people who drive those Fords with the grill in the front and they like creep because they know that they look like a cop car, right? So they creep behind you and you're like, shit, this is a cop car. And then all of a sudden they like speed off the side and you're like, motherfucker, why did you scare me like that?
All those white Dodge Chargers out there.
That's
really coming for you.
And it's always like an old white guy. Like maybe he was a cop and he's like, I like the feeling of intimidating.
That's probably part of it. People that buy old cop cars, yeah.
Well, you can buy them at auctions, I think, so they're like cheaper.
See, that makes me feel bad because now it could be that like somebody who wanted like a dependable, cheaper car went that way and was like, you know what, it looks like a cop car, but can't help it.
Whatever. If they were down, they would go to extreme lengths to make it
paint
look
flames on it,
like a not cop car. Like do a big X on the side or something. You know?
Yeah, they keep the spotlights on the side too.
Yeah.
What are they called? Crown Vics? Was that what cars used to do? Yeah.
Please don't mess with me. I'm just a regular Joe.
Yeah.
Who's trying to not be a cop.
Right.
Well, actually, now that we're talking about this, I know someone who actually collects like old cars, and I saw one of their cars that they recently bought. It is an old cop car from out west, and it even had the rear partition where you couldn't like get from the back to the front. And it's like, who would fucking buy this? Like, imagine going to pick up like some friends, you know, and so you get like one in the front seat, and then you tell the other two they gotta sit in the back, and like
you tell them to watch their heads and you push them in.
Or like, what if you like Ubered with that car and you just like picked people up and put them in the back?
You're just like, I'm gonna wait for the next driver. Go ahead.
I don't know. If you have kids, maybe that would be really funny.
Yeah.
Make sure that you sit down, or a dog that likes to crawl in your lap.
True.
I'm not advocating for this. I'm just doing the thing I do. I'm trying to think about other people's reasoning.
Today, Andy's going to talk about the what's going on in the Rhode Island Senate, but I wanted to add one more category underneath the cop car lookalikes, and that is people with Joe Biden bumper stickers.
On the cop car?
Who in their right mind is that much of a Joe Biden fan that, like, you're going to put a sticker on your car? Like, I understand the people that were like, I don't want Trump, so I'm going to vote Biden, whatever. But the sticker is like, that's another level.
That's blue MAGA.
I didn't realize that anyone was that big of a fan of Joe Biden.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just insane to me that anyone's like, yeah, man, this is what I was looking forward to. like
really,
we're gonna get some real change. He's gonna like throw us $1,000 after not doing anything, and then like it's all Gucci.
It was $2,000.
No. It was $1,400 because I don't count that $600 before. You need to give me more than that. I mean, like Canada, they're giving them $2,000 a month. Like, just being a Canadian citizen is just like, yo, guys, this is fucked. All right, we're like, I know we're not the greatest, but you know, let's give you a little bit of healthcare and let's give you $2,000.
Do something, yeah.
The Canadian government has its problems for sure, but yeah, I wouldn't mind $2,000 a month. Although I would lose my disability, but.
Hey,
I never got any of those stimulus checks. I still haven't gotten a single one.
No, really? Did you find out why?
Probably because I haven't done my taxes.
Oh.
Yeah.
that would explain it. Yeah. So, under the category of people who are Alex's mortal enemies, cop car lookalike people, and people with Joe Biden bumper stickers.
What about, I saw the one the other day that just said "Proud Democrat,"
That's bad too.
which why?
Yeah, what do you have to be proud of?
Who? Why? What?
We're just proud because we believe.
Like,
And we fight.
Sure.
You know, you know, buzzword.
That's it.
You know, and you know, like, we're gonna put the kids in cages, but you know, we're gonna give them an American flag and tell them we love them.
We're gonna
Call
call
it
it migrant
overflow.
facilities.
Yeah.
We're gonna show up with blue ties instead of red ties.
Yeah, and we're gonna hide it under a pile of paperwork, and then we're gonna make a great, like, you know, HBO Max documentary series in 20 years about how we fucked over everyone and we're wee sorry.
Really sorry.
It'll probably be a TV show about how hurt the guards were when they had to work there. It won't even be about the people
They were
that
just
actually...
following orders.
Their jobs were under
The
threat.
Nuremberg
Yeah,
defense.
I mean, my mom taught in South Central in '88, and she would come in, and there would be a serial killer that was loose, that just wasn't in the papers, and there'd just be dead body parts all on the playground, and the kids would come in, and then they'd have to shut down the playground, and the kids got so used to it that they're just like, oh, there's body parts on the playground.
Man,
again.
LA is some kind of
They all
And
do.
it-
some kind
like,
of other planet, man.
Yeah, and you know, I'm gonna be honest. That would be a great cinematic scene in Snowfall. But you know, for some reason they haven't added it
They
to
missed
it
it.
yet.
The desensitization, it's a hard word to say, the desensitization of children to violence is
Yeah.
itself horrifying.
And like she's been on juries before for murder trials where the person who did the murder is waving at her, and she's like, I have no idea who this person is. I've taught so many people in so many impoverished neighborhoods, no clue. And like and it's just like one of those things. It's just
It's
without investing in communities, it creates this systemic issue of people being pushed to the ground, and eliminating groups like the Black Panthers from LA in the 70s has made it so that entire neighborhood has completely just been overrun with criminals, which is exactly what the CIA wanted when they went in there.
So all of this is to say, if you're a proud Democrat, I don't understand.
I do want to say that, like, you have a pass if you had a Biden Kamala Harris lawn sign, because you could take that off real easily. You know, you hated Trump, your neighbor had a big Trump flag, and you were like, fuck you, bro, and you put that in your lawn. That's cool. Election's over, take it out. But a sticker, you can't just take that off your car. That is hard to get off. That's another level.
Yeah, you need some Gugan for that.
You need some Gugan or something. This episode brought to you by... Just kidding.
If you have some goo that needs to be gone, goo gone.
Gugan. Wait, did you guys have to deal with the fallout of Kamala Harris's visit this week?
Oh, yeah. I was basically blocked in from every bridge on the east end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
I had doctor's appointments all day, and we couldn't even get to the hospital because all that shit was blocked. And it was like, man, they shouldn't be blocking the hospital. That's not cool.
They should never block streets for public servants. That's my idea. Like, I understand that Kamala Harris needs the Secret Service to be around her. Like, she needs bodyguards so that she's not assassinated. But blocking streets, I think, is way too much because... Like Evan was saying, we were going to the hospital, and like, what if there's an emergency? And like, I imagine that they'll probably let the emergency vehicles go, but still, like, not all people going to the hospital are in ambulances. Some people are just in cars. You know what I mean?
Well, Providence has a record of not wanting people to get to the hospital, adding all those speed bumps going all the way to Rhode Island Hospital. You got
Slow down.
Let's hope you don't have a neck injury on the way there.
Because just remember, speed bumps kill more than they help.
Same with red light cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have gotten caught by the red light camera.
Yes.
And it violates due process.
And it violates privacy too, because you never know what you could be doing in that car when it snaps a picture of you.
Finger all the way up your nose.
Oh, yeah.
Finger up your nose, no pants on.
And
sometimes
and
you gotta drive there.
it also takes the dignity out, because then you have to go on TV to be like, hey judge, man, like I really don't want to sign the waiver, but they're saying I can't like get this ticket taken off unless I sign the waiver. So now I'm just gonna start talking about everything sad in my life, so then you can be like, you know what? You seem like a good guy. We're gonna help you out.
What's that show? Caught in Providence?
Caught in Providence.
Impunity of judges, really. It's just whenever they feel like being nice, they can help you out. That's the American legal system, I suppose.
At least it's helping out local IATSE workers. So,
I do want to say that this is kind of fucked up, but I giggle every time conservatives refer to Kamala Harris as Kabbalah Harris. This makes me laugh. I know that it's really bad, and I don't refer to her as that, but goddamn, they're so dumb. They're so dumb.
That's like the mystic Jewish tradition, right? Isn't that like a religion?
The Kabbalah, it's like a
Madonna.
Famously. Those are the red bracelet people.
Yes.
I also remember hearing one saying that she's Kamila, and I'm like, and I'm like, man, I really wish.
I wish, yeah, right.
Let's get whoever that is. Like, that sounds like a great person to have in office.
Yeah. Everybody making fun of her name is also mispronouncing her name because it's Kamala, not Kamala. But people are calling her Kamala.
Oh yeah,
you heard that one?
I don't mind that one.
That one's fine with me.
Yeah, because she is a cop. It comes down to it.
You don't get to take that uniform off and just be done with it.
She was
You're
photographed
for life.
She was photographed with that book that she bought it in Providence.
The Nickel Boys.
Yeah, the like I forget the title of it, about ending policing in the United States.
Book,
and like everyone retweeted that picture and was like, "Oh, big things coming," but it's like it's never gonna happen from her.
You know what's great to end policing? The person who made San Francisco police like all the police instead of abolishing them completely.
Yeah.
And pretty much made it this dystopian wasteland that it currently is.
I love that Eric Andre interview. I can't remember who he's talking to, but he's like, "Do you think that Kamala Harris is the pinnacle of girl boss?" Somebody was like, "Yeah, she's a girl boss for sure." And he's like, "So you think that it was a girl boss move to put trans women in men's prisons?" And they were like,
This episode brought to you by Eric Andre.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Bad Trip now on Netflix.
The roads closing was ridiculous. I mean, and it was way more than it needed to be. But I guess vice presidents matter. Vice president lives matter. I guess I don't know. Why they did that. No, they don't really matter. Andy. So I know some of the Senate bills that they were talking about, but I haven't really been following it this week because it's finals week. I've been in grading hell, so I haven't really been twittering Patricia Morgan that much, but I still do,
Well, first off, shout out to John Brown. It's his birthday today.
Hey.
Pew,
pew, pew, pew.
But also I want to talk about some wins that we had, however marginal they might be. First being the fight for 15, for the $15 minimum wage in Rhode Island. That passed. It's going to be put forward in 2022. It's going to be $12.25 in 2023, $13, 2024, $14, and then 2025, $15. So it's incremental. It's over time, and it doesn't affect tip workers at all.
Just in time for the living minimum to rise by 2025. I feel like it's going to be like $20, right? And then there's going to be a whole another renewed battle about raising minimum wage again. It'll be more like gradual.
I just don't understand why a minimum wage has to be a national standard. I think every place has its own cost of living. Like $15 an hour is so much more, say, in North Carolina, where I can buy a house for $50,000 or something like that. here I believe the cost of living is $18.50. Last time I checked, I'm a little out of date with all my numbers. I just don't understand why we can't give people living wage jobs.
Well, I think some of those places like North Carolina and some of those red states can't be trusted to raise the wage when they're supposed to like that. They'll keep it super low.
Absolutely.
That's why the federal government needs to make a standard, a bare minimum standard for a living standard across the board for everybody. Because otherwise people aren't going to step up and do anything about it. I mean, look at
absolutely.
Mitch McConnell's state.
Ew,
oh my God.
I'd rather not.
It's doing absolutely terrible in every
Kentucky
aspect. But the people there just they're just not putting enough pressure on their government to make a change.
There are people doing good stuff there, for sure.
Most people in Louisville hate Mitch McConnell and his house is there. But like all major politicians, the house is like guarded off. There's constantly like security around there, so you can't really vandalize in any way.
They do that to Britney Spears' house too.
And
Who would attack Britney Spears?
Yeah, who would do that?
R.I.P. She lives near my hometown, like right around the corner.
Brittany does?
Yeah, Brittany does. She lives
She's
in the hills.
From near my hometown.
Yeah.
Kentwood, Louisiana. People used to like show up and try to like snip grass out of her yard and stuff. They would like, put up a big fence. Anyway, sorry.
That's wild.
Tangential.
I met her at the Toys R Us when she was still married to K-Fed. I met her and her children, and I just did a nod because she's at the Toys R Us. I just did a.
I recognize you.
And then she's like,
You got a nod back.
She got a nod. She gave me a nod back.
Wow.
She respected me, that I didn't like ruin her day with her children. I let her children do their thing, and be kids in Toys R Us. R.I.P. to the.
Yeah, for real.
I would have yelled at them. I would have yelled at get off that fucking little.
It's different than my reaction from Kanye. I told him Graduation was one of my favorite records of all time, and then he just went, "Fuck off, kid," and I'm like,
damn.
Love it.
And I'm like, that's what I was expecting from you, Kanye.
Yeah.
A 17-year-old me was really disappointed, but 28-year-old me is real fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, just as an example, Massachusetts minimum wage is $13.50, which I guess kind of what Dan was saying. Like, if you're in North Adams, Massachusetts, $13.50 is pretty good, I suppose. But if you're in the Boston metro area, like within 95, you can't live off $13.50. You can't afford rent there, so you're constantly commuting into the city, right? And I know a lot of people who work in Boston in cafes or something like that, and they live in Pawtucket or Providence because it's more affordable. And they just have to commute every day, and then they're spending I think it's around $400 for the commuter rail to have a pass for it. And so, yeah.
Well, these people either commute or they get, sardined into houses with, 9 or 10 people living in a 4-bedroom apartment, and fire happens, a bunch of people die.
In worst case scenario.
No, that happens all the time in Boston.
Yeah, it's true.
They pack people into these houses and it's not safe.
And yet they have all of these condos and new apartment complexes that are totally vacant that nobody can afford, but they just keep building them. And shout out to the Keep Metacomet Green people. I saw them the other day and I beeped. I hope they didn't think that I was mad at them, but I was like beep 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 while I was driving by. But they are fighting so that doesn't happen in East Providence because they just started demoing part of Metacomet to build those condominiums that nobody's going to be able to afford. But it's going to cause landlords to hike their rent costs all across the board. So fuck them. They're on my shit list too.
The giant glass middle fingers in the sky for the rich. That's the best way I've heard them be described by Jello Biafra recently.
Jello. We could tell stories about Jello, but anyway, keep going, Andy.
Well, obviously, the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights is up to be repealed completely, not amended.
Blech.
It's getting a lot of support from the community, so that'll probably go through. Another law enforcement bill, 597, would require Providence police to wear body cameras and start using dash cams. And it would also force police officers to rat on each other if they see an abuse of force on someone else. And if they don't report it, then they get disciplinary action. It would also prevent police from firing gas rounds and other kinds of non-lethals directly at protesters. It'll make that a chargeable offense for the police, which I'm surprised it isn't already.
So you have to aim it at the floor in front of them.
Yeah. Which you'd have to do, even when you do that, you would have to do it at an angle that wouldn't cause a direct ricochet to hit someone right in the face.
Because I was gonna say it would ricochet and hit somebody, and then they'd be like, "Not my fault. I aimed it at the floor."
So what they would need to do is use like low velocity if they were gonna use something. They shouldn't be using fucking anything.
Yeah. One of Dan McKee's.
It would also real quick. It would also make illegal the use of chokeholds in Providence.
Ooh, that's great.
So this isn't getting any this is a huge bill that has a lot of disciplinary measures that can be used against police after the Labor bill passes.
That's the Bill of Rights.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So they both need to pass because just that first, the Bill of Rights being thrown out, it won't mean that they will be held responsible for any of these things. They'll still be able to use chokeholds. They'll still be able to pelt you with these high-impact, non-lethal rounds.
I want to know what the accountability is too. Like, what's the punishment if is it spelled out? Because if it's like just a slap on the wrist or like you get written up in the department, like most people aren't gonna care.
I don't have the details for that, but I can tell you that another law enforcement bill that's happening at the same time is changing the way that they are judged for their discipline. Usually it's just it's like 3 police members or ex-police members. And now they're expanding that list to 5, and 3 of which are civilian. One of them is from the Human Rights Commission, another one is from City Council, and then another one is being placed by the presiding justice of Superior Court. So anyway, instead of them figuring out if you did right or did wrong, it's not 3 cops that are deciding if a cop did the wrong thing. Now there's civilians that aren't cops that are going to be part of that council too. So
and so body cameras is cool, but one of the problems with that is that
they turn them off.
Historically, either they turn them off or the police department has the decision of whether or not to release the footage.
So in that, it also says that if you turn it off, and it's not for like a private conversation, like if I'm getting lunch delivered by my significant other, I can turn my body camera off. But if I'm in the process of doing an arrest, a pullover, or something like that, if I turn it off, it's an instant disciplinary measure for the police. And also, in that same bill, this is a huge fucking bill, it is going to take a tally of all of the use of force for the entire year, and it's going to go up to the Attorney General, and they're going to look at it and figure out if they're using too much force, which we already know is already happening.
Question: are chokeholds not already illegal?
So when I was looking at this bill, it was everything in it was brand new, and it said chokeholds will be not used from this point forward.
Any chokeholds?
I imagine it would
chokeholds.
Be. Yeah.
I just feel like I've read illegal chokehold so many times.
Like not just the this chokehold, but even like I imagine anything that could block the.
Yeah, they go through the whole legal speak where it's like anything that prevents blood flowing from like the
Oxygen,
from the carotid arteries and that.
So
kind
like
of
what
thing.
Derek Chauvin was doing.
Right. Well, yeah.
I think that's been banned from most police departments for a very long time, and that guy was just kind of a fucking monster.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he's being tried now for a 2017 case, right?
Yeah.
For doing the same thing to a teenager.
So I would like all of these to pass. The more that we can neuter the police force and hold them accountable, the better, until we can eventually take all of the power from the police and abolish them completely. So real quick, I got 3 other bills. One of them is for the police to use robots. This is to ban them from using robots. Can't let them use this Boston Dynamics and UAV shit, because that's just going to be more money put into the police to buy toys, which we definitely don't want.
It makes them one step closer to Megatron than me.
Well, they'll be your Optimus Prime to your Megatron.
Yeah.
And then Bill 771 decriminalizes sex work in Rhode Island.
Woo!
From misdemeanor, that would go, the punishment is a year in jail and $1,000 or up to $1,000. It'll bring it down to a $250 infraction. So
it's still punishable. They'll still fine you.
It'll be like getting a ticket instead of going to jail for a year.
I just see some weird dystopia where the cop's wearing body camera, like turns his body camera off, and then elicits service from a sex worker, and then arrests her and turns his camera back on and is like, "Never caught me. You can't catch me."
Well,
it happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
best believe it happens.
It was a private conversation.
I mean,
that's
what happened to Cheaters too, but also Cheaters was using 16-year-old sex trafficking, which is, it's good that they no longer exist. But I used to go to Johnson Wales, and half of my class were all working at the clubs because it was just that was the best way for them to pay for their school. And hey, they don't have student loans. God bless them. I very much do.
Oh, speaking of student loans, there's a bill that might be passed that's going to make the 2-year free or no tuition for students that are graduating to CCRI. It might make that permanent.
Huh. How about that?
You have to either be a high school graduate or you have to be full-time student with a 2.5 GPA or above.
And from Rhode Island, probably.
You have to be.
There are
Rhode Island
weird
resident.
stipulations, man. That I feel like that is still just against poor people who can't work or can't go to school full time because they have to work or.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that definitely sucks. Yeah.
There's always got to be stipulations, fine print.
And then the last one I want to talk about real quick is 672. It'll make it so a person that's imprisoned, wrongly can sue. Yeah. So if you go
state?
So if you go to jail and you're wrongly convicted, you can sue for your time lost and your life impacted.
Is that for free? You can do that for free, or do you have to pay a whole bunch of money to do that?
I think your attorney fees are reimbursed.
Ooh,
I think.
How about ya?
Yeah, get them public attorneys that want that big money from the state, and then you can do it. But yeah, I mean that's great. But how? I'm curious of what the process actually looks like for getting the attorney, because then they have to evaluate your case and whether it's worth taking on. So they're essentially judging whether they think you're guilty or not.
Well, I mean, if DNA evidence comes out and it says that or if something happens and you're wrongfully convicted and you get out, they basically admitted being at fault. So it wouldn't be hard to sue for wrongdoing. I would imagine. I'm not a lawyer, but.
To ask Rob
You're
Levine.
not?
I'm not.
Oh, weird.
It reminds me of an ESPN story where a guy started painting all the golf courses at the Masters, and then he just wrote a guy and like, "Hey man, I'm really innocent. I've been here for 20 years. Here's a nice golf course." And then they're like, "It's a nice golf course. All right, I'll get you some representation." And he got out of prison because he painted the 5th hole at the Masters.
Whoa.
Dang.
And he got obsessed with painting golf courses, and I think he had like an exhibit at like one of those big museums in New York of being like the guy that was imprisoned wrongly that painted golf courses. Don't you want to?
I was a celebrity.
That's a nice golf course. All right.
Yeah, it turns out all you need to do to get out of prison is to like paint white dude sports.
Good to know.
This is America.
I shouldn't be podcasting anymore. I should be painting golf courses. Maybe that's what Metacomment needs.
That's it. Any other color than green. Lots of colors.
Rainbow.
Wait, so circling back, I love to say circling back to minimum wage and stuff. First of all, shout out to Rhode Island Working Families Party. But also, so this week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and I don't want to be too disparaging about my bosses over at Providence Public Schools, because ultimately this isn't exactly their fault, but you guys know that teachers make less than minimum wage?
No.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
ridiculously low amount
Yeah.
of money.
So talking about $15 an hour, like I'm so psyched for that. Like that sounds amazing to me. And I'm a substitute teacher, because I just can't, because of all my medical needs, I can't work full time. So I'm a substitute teacher, so I make around like $12 an hour. But I get paid per day. But because of everything that gets taken out of my check, I essentially work one day for free. So I'm essentially volunteering for at least one of those days that I work. And also, I mean, I think it's pretty common knowledge at this point that most teachers pay out of pocket for like a lot of their stuff. A lot of stuff in the classroom, but also like for our students. We've got students, you know, who like, if I didn't give them snacks, they wouldn't eat. So I like hoard all these snacks in my bag so that I can feed them and stuff. Or like every time I go to the dollar store, I pick up a box of granola bars or whatever, just because I want to be able to feed them. And so, and like technically, yes, you could write this stuff off on your taxes, but like, I don't know about y'all. I don't keep receipts. For stuff like that.
I do.
Maybe I should.
Not really, I don't.
I was like, no, you don't.
I think the best thing to do for that is have a shoebox, and when you do it, throw it in a shoebox, and then when you have all those shoebox receipts, throw it at your tax guy and be like, do it!
I don't have a tax guy. I'm my tax guy. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't been recently.
Well, then throw it at your computer.
Yeah, tax slayer.
I heard that there was some kind of crazy bonus that was given to like the admin staff of like the Providence schools that wasn't extended to the teachers. It was just like given to each other.
Yeah. Didn't you say that they came in and sang to you?
Okay, yeah, okay, so
That was your teacher
So
appreciation.
teacher
You
appreciation
got sung
week.
to.
I still work for below minimum wage, and Rhode Island I think is like number 11 also for like standard of teachers being paid. But anyway, yeah, so what did we get? We got, I think there was a breakfast on Thursday that, like, obviously we couldn't all sit together because of COVID, but it was like a takeaway breakfast. I don't work Thursday, so I wasn't there. But what else? Oh, yeah, Friday we got, like, Subway sandwiches delivered, and I think that was just something that the principal did. So that was very nice of him. Again, nothing I could eat, but very kind of him. And he like printed out all these little like superhero things that said super teachers and like scattered them on the table. And then they came in the middle of my class, interrupted my class to sing to me, the like Ain't No Mountain High Enough song. But instead of to keep me from getting to you, they said to keep me from thanking you. And they presented me with a piece of paper that they signed.
Let's frame it. That's the bonus.
I stapled it on my bulletin board in the library.
They should have given
So
you.
you don't need a raise.
No, I got this signed piece of paper and an interrupted class. You know how hard it is to get first graders back on track once they've been distracted?
By singing people
It's
just
impossible.
bursting.
Can't you move that on eBay for like 10 grand?
Oh yeah, easy. No problem.
They should have given you one of those mechanical pencils with the interchangeable tips.
Oh, I love those
Yeah,
things.
that would have been cool.
Yo,
Until you lose one, then you're fucked.
Yeah,
That's
when you
true.
lose one, you're done.
Office supplies would have been cool. I hate paying for office supplies, even though I love office supply stores. I just love supplies in general.
The smell of an office supply store is
It's
one
great.
that you cannot get anywhere else. Just that fresh plastic smell, and you go in, and then you're just like, binders.
Yes. Well, it's like there's so much. It's any type of supplies. I love art supplies. I love building supplies. I love the Container Store. I love
Oh yeah.
just like potential, you know.
Oh,
And I love
snaps.
organization.
Snaps for the Container Store.
Yeah.
By the way,
We were there yesterday.
this podcast sponsored by the Container Store. Anywhere you can get a container, we have it.
Any kind of
Any
container.
kind of container. We were just there.
All the containers. Contain
what-
your life at the Container Store.
That's,
Ooh.
Ooh.
There's
Do
the
an
hook.
advertisement for the Container Store.
This is the Container Store podcast. Thank
Get your
you.
glue gun at the Container Store.
At least it's not that. What was that? We got an email from some like contain your nuts thing. What was it?
Oh, it was the Smooth Your Balls.
Smooth your balls. Yeah, we don't support them. fuck smoothie balls. But
Balls
now,
and brains should be wrinkly. We don't approve.
Are they the same company that makes Balls energy drink?
Good
Legitimate question.
I don't know. I've never heard of Balls energy drink.
Confirm or deny.
Energy drink names are so funny. Monster.
Bang!
Balls.
Yeah.
I just
Red Bull.
I still
strong.
I still can't understand why bros want to like tattoo Monster Energy drink wherever they can find. I've seen a Monster Energy drink tramp stamp that says "Get the energy." It was at
That would pump
Hurricane
me up.
Harbor.
That's a vibe.
All right, Dan. If I offered you $50,000 to get a 4x4 Monster Energy tattoo anywhere on
Like
your
a
body,
lower back tattoo?
anywhere on your body, would you do it?
Oh, yeah, you can hide that shit, and it's a great story because you're like, yeah, I totally made fun of this. Look, I got Monster Energy
Then I
drink
got
right
it.
here. Like,
Put it on your
like
inside leg.
I've never had Monster Energy drink.
Never.
Never once had it. It came out in middle school, and all the like kids that bullied me had it. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm not drinking that garbage.
That's how I feel about JanSport backpacks. Like,
Oh,
everybody
same.
has them, but like that was for the like rich mean kids at all my schools.
The
Like,
enemies.
I've never had a JanSport backpack. I don't have name brand shit.
I found a tiny JanSport at Savers, and I had it for the Pondering merch forever, and I put all the Pondering pins on the tiny JanSport. It was so cute. It was like the size of a mini purse, and like it didn't fit on me because I'm a 6'5" gigantic human, and so I'd try to put it on, and then it would just be like literally cutting off the circulation in my arms. But let me tell you, it was cute.
Style.
Like as someone who's gotten into the Real Housewives recently, let me tell you, it was an accessory.
Hey,
I love that.
Speaking of accessories, we have a few accessories coming out.
we do.
Ooh, good segue.
We have masks now. We're working on patches. There'll be hats. There's buttons.
Fanny packs?
That's actually not a bad idea.
Chaos pouches, you mean?
Fanny packs, if that's your thing, maybe.
I'm holding this beautiful sticker in my hands, as you can all see through this audio medium. It's quite wonderful. It goes great on a guitar to show cops what's up.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes, I was a graphic design student for exactly one semester before I dropped out. So that's all my graphic design skills right there in that sticker.
It's hot.
The one
Thank you.
last thing I thought that we could bring up is there is also a bill, and I'm not sure of the status of it, but about taxing the 1% in Rhode Island.
Is that the land tax bill, or is this a different bill?
I'm not sure. I read something vaguely on it, that there is an effort in Rhode Island Congress at least to pass something that would, from the state level, tax people over a certain income in the state, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because there's a lot of millionaires in like Newport, in big old mansions that probably aren't paying that much.
Well, that's like the land tax thing that they were planning on putting through. So there's a bill, I don't have the number in front of me, that would make it so if your property, I believe, is $2.5 million to $5 million, you don't have to pay the transfer excise or whatever tax it is. Which would be a huge loss of money, especially places like Newport, where those places are fucking super expensive. But that LaSalle Academy, that went through.
Right.
So all 26 acres.
Because if there's one thing we've learned in this episode, it's that if a politician has the will, they have the way too, right? If exempting LaSalle from paying taxes is what you want to do, and you're a influential politician, then you can get it done, right? If you paint golf courses for rich wealthy white guys and then you get in trouble, those rich wealthy white guys will help you out. They get some influence. That's clout. That's American justice system.
We should pump that up to 100% and then just let all the rich people live on the street to pay for their crimes.
That is,
but that's a personal opinion right there.
I mean, yeah, I think we all agree. Short of the guillotine, that's probably forcing rich people to live like the plebs in the United States.
Man, I was trying to find the thing online about taxing the 1%, but
Uprise might have. That might be where I read it. But yeah. So
I got distracted. I started looking at Casa Mexico's page, and they just got a bunch of tasty looking cakes.
I mean, let them eat cake.
Yeah, but
don't let them eat cake.
I
We're
mean,
talking about the rich still. Don't
let them
Yeah,
eat
don't-
cake
don't-
if it means supporting a small business.
I mean, you know, I think we should only let them eat cake because it's like terrible in nourishment, and a lot of them have gluten allergies. So it's just,
Good point.
you know,
I do want to say along the lines of the small business that like I don't. There's a lot. That's part of the reason why Kamala Harris was here, was to work out a plan on supporting small businesses in Rhode Island. She was here with the former governor. And, like, I just want to say fuck small businesses. Like, they're not the priority right now. The priority should be the working class people who are sinking from either small businesses laying them off, small businesses not paying them much, because the difference between Jeff Bezos and a small business owner is simply one of quantity but not of quality. The small business owners would be Jeff Bezos if they could be, but they just don't have the product that will give them that. So, I mean, when it comes to like a non-white owned restaurant, you know, I'm all for supporting them, but also like
pay people a living wage. I think one restaurant in town that's doing a better job at making sure that their servers are getting paid a living wage is the Den Den chains. So regular Den Den and Den Den fried chicken, they pay everyone a living $18.50 an hour.
Wow.
And they eliminated tips as part of the thing. You know, if you want to support businesses of color, I highly suggest supporting Den Den and Den Den fried chicken. If you're looking for a more vegetarian option, Den Den fried chicken also has these things. It's called a fried noodle roll, and it's basically just a rice wrapped in iwanare, deep fried in tempura. It is
Yeah, their food is really good.
Yeah,
This
it's
episode brought to you by Din Din Fried Chicken.
Yeah, their monkey balls are great.
yeah.
Too.
Oh yeah.
You had to say that, didn't you? You had to say that.
I had to wedge monkey balls in there somewhere.
Fresh monkey balls
smooth?
at Den Den fried chicken.
No, they're not. No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want people to think that what I'm saying is. I think that if you can support businesses owned by people of color, non-white people, then do it, because Lord knows that they're not getting reparations from the state or from the federal level. So you could throw some money their way, that way. But like, I don't feel bad for the white businesses that Gina Raimondo and Kamala Harris want to bail out, which is majority white businesses in the state of Rhode Island.
I guarantee like most of that money is going to end up going to Greg's restaurants and cellos for some reason.
I saw something on the Working Families Party, their social media, and it was talking about a lot of the businesses owned by people of color on Academy Ave are really struggling right now.
That's what I was looking for. That's how I got to Casa Mexico. Yeah.
And there was a lot of testimonials by these business owners, you know, that are all, you know, most of these businesses are family owned, very hardworking people, and they're saying that, hey, you can raise the tax on properties over $495,000 a year for businesses. It's not going to affect us. We're not even making any profit right now. We are drowning. So also, if you want to spend your money, go down Academy Ave and buy from some of these small businesses and help them out. Follow Working Families Parties on Instagram. I think it's WFP /
No, it's RI_WFP.
There it is.
Hey.
And but yeah, those are the small businesses that I would say need a little bit of support. Those family-owned businesses, but places like Greg's and
Yeah, so people are
fine.
saying that, you know, taxing the rich is going to actually hurt small businesses. That is just so wrong.
Right.
It's just not how math works, and also just
Math.
It's just not true.
I think we should just post up like taxation charts from 1947 to 1955 so people understand that when all these when there's these white wonderlands of this is how America was and this is great, understand that the rich were being taxed at 97%.
Yeah. True. The tax level is
and it's like, you know, when you tax the rich at 97%, you have a steady flow of money going down. My dad always described it as he doesn't want to be trickled on when he goes to the shower.
I think that is a great note to end this segment of the show.
Thinking about trickling on Dan's dad.
Yeah.
That's the name of the episode.
Trickling
on Dan's dad.
And next segment, we're going to be talking to Dan about unionizing hotel workers and Dan's other stuff. But we are here with Dan from Pondering, and also
hello.
And also, you were part of unionizing hotel workers, right?
I have been a part of 2 unionization projects. I worked with Unite Here. My first time, it was actually I was working at Hilton Providence, and there was a massive movement to unionize the hotel. It was a Prakashani Group hotel, and if you know anything about hotels, the Prakashani Group are one of the worst companies to work for all around. They cut everything. They torment managers. Managers end up working like 120 hours a week. They treat housekeeping workers disgustingly inhumanely. And then they'll give you an ice cream party to be like, see, we care.
We're a family.
Yeah, we're here. We're family. At that job, the moment that, because someone had approached me, and I was young. I was like 20 years old. I was going to Johnson & Wales. I was going for a management degree. I was going to be a manager, right? And at this point, I hadn't. My grounding in theory is zero, nilch, nothing. All I know is I just need to work my butt off, try and get here. And if you know anything about Johnson & Wales, it's just like it's a breeding ground for these terrible hotel managers, right? And so the general manager pulls me off to the side, and he goes, if you don't fucking pick up your ass right now, I'll fire you on the fucking spot. I don't give a fucking shit about you, anyone you fucking care about. If that buffet isn't full in the next fucking 5 minutes, like, you're fucking done here. And I'm sobbing, and I'm refilling the buffet, and then Unite Here actually had been trying to organize the property for a long time, and we had something that is referred to as a SALT. Are we familiar with the term SALT? SALT is in purposeful union plant brought in to unionize a property, right? And so Evan McLaughlin, who has organized now 3 successful unions in the San Francisco area, including the Anchor Steam Union. If you've saw the Anchor Steam Union, he was the lead organizer on that. And when they got the full union, they gave him a full tricked out Anchor Steam jacket. And he's really cool. He's just like, I love hardcore and unions, my type of guy. Yeah, and he pulled me to the side, and then we had a conversation, because so once you're in a strategic plant spot, the main thing is to have as many personal out of work hangouts as possible to build your influence in that workplace. And I think one person that was a SALT with Unite Here also organized the Boston Airport food service workers, and he organized the entire Doubletree Boston Cambridge workers. And then after you prove yourself as a SALT, we had 2 SALTs at the Hilton. It was Evan and then Jonah, who is now acting Rhode Island president of Unite Here. We basically, that was a failed project, right? We signed a void. we signed for a boycott, and we ended up getting 85% of the workers to sign for a boycott of the Hilton Providence to try and get us to unionize, which cost the hotel millions of dollars. And Unite Here's strategy was to put pressure on the Prakashani group to let us do a card check election, because there's two ways to unionize. There's a secret ballot election and a card check election. So the secret ballot election is you announce we are having an election, and then there's a 2-week grace period where management can break all the laws possible to make sure a union doesn't happen. And that's the first way to be legally represented, legally seen in the United States as a union, right? And so the most recent card check, another Pakistani group property that had a card check election very recently was the Providence Renaissance, which has been notably their salts were Joey DeFrancesco from the Downtown Boys and Victoria Ruiz from the Downtown Boys, and they met and started the band while salting with Unite Here in Providence. And there was a video that went viral because Joey, basically, they got all the workers down. They got the food service workers down. They got all the votes they needed to win a secret ballot election. And they kept putting pressure on Unite Here to go to a secret ballot election. And they're like, no, we want to do a card check election. We want to keep putting pressure, because in order to do a card check election, the company has to acknowledge to the union that it's okay if the employees go around and do a card check. And the difference between a card check and a secret ballot is a secret ballot, everyone has to be there on that day to vote that day. A card check, you can just go around and say, hey Joe, what's going on? Would you like to consider yourself to be a member of the union? Yes, you sign the card, you don't need to do anything else. You can go around over a few weeks, get all the cards. Once you hit a certain percentage, congratulations, you're union. And so that's what it's actually very relatable today with the Amazon workers, because Amazon is no way in hell they're going to let them do a card check. So that means every time they're going to do a union vote, you have to understand the amount of labor rights violations that are going on as soon as they announce that they're doing a secret ballot election. Is they are illegally firing anyone that could be considered a shop steward. They're illegally firing anyone that they know is a member of the union. They're putting anti-union sentiment in the bathroom. So you go to the bathroom. You're like, all right, I need to relieve myself. It's just like, did you know union dues take all your money? What? All of it.
So they were giving like money and bonuses to people who promised they wouldn't be a part of the union as well.
Yep, absolutely. All incredibly illegal, but it doesn't matter because Amazon can pay for it, right? And so my first act of organizing at the Hilton Providence, they went to me and they said, I will make sure you never get a hospitality job in Providence. The general manager did, if I join the union. And one night I said, all right, I'll join the union. And then I told Evan, I'm like, hey, I'm really worried about this. So he got me one of the Lucha Libre masks, and then I wore the Lucha Libre mask, and then they usually had like an employee go and like speak about the working conditions, and so I'm like, working conditions are awful, like I lucha for justice. Like
that's great.
and it's funny because, like, you know, we'd be on the picket lines and they have to have a cop escort to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. And then the cops are like, oh yeah, you know, we have a union too. And it's just like, not the same, bro.
No.
Yeah.
Not the same. Your union makes sure my union can't exist. Right. If you look at the history. And And so after being there for a while, I got my degree. I started doing management jobs, and then I realized I wanted to go into banquets, and I reached out to Jonah, who I was organizing with at the Hilton, who was working for Unite here at that moment, and I'm like, is there any place I can go to help out? And they sent me over to an already unionized property at Twin River Casino to be a SALT myself, where my job was to get enough intel to identify the leaders within the property, because I'm not going to come in and instantly become the leader, but I can find who like packs of people go. So it's like, this guy leads the housemen, this guy leads the servers, this guy leads this, and because the banquet department was completely a mess on a union point of side, because they realized a year and a half before going into contract negotiations that they were going to have to go to a strike, because unions, when going through and looking at companies that they've worked with, they identify how hard that company is going to fight you going into contract negotiations. They also look at historically where the company draws the line. And Twin River Casino, their group has historically drawn the line at like right before strike. And so they needed to be prepared to go to strike. And so I was going around identifying leaders, and like, if I was able to become a leader myself and get on committee, that's fine. But in the end, I always saw myself as someone that was brought in to make sure that other people's lives are better. And because what Twin River Casino was doing right there was they were getting rid of everyone's health insurance while working in a cigarette smoke filled room. Basically saying cancer's a pre-existing condition.
Holy shit.
And things like that. And like making, if you wanted to keep your health insurance, you'd have to go from paying like $20 a week to $240 a week or something. Jesus. Redonkulous like that. And so I think the number one thing in organizing is realizing that not everyone's like you, and how to find common ground, because I had to find common ground with the worst of Trump supporters, like being, and it's not always like if they're, because the thing is, it all comes back local, right? It's just like, how is this affecting you? What can you do to protect your family? And what you can do to protect your family is by going in and doing this. And we went up to the strike vote pretty much, and it was really tense for a while, right? And they illegally fired one of the head cooks in the banquet kitchen, Mauricio, who was a huge leader. How they fired him is that the management actually brought in a plant of their own into the kitchen to say that Mauricio said he was going to bring in a gun and murder everybody.
Whoa.
After the strike, that person left immediately.
Suspicious.
It's not suspicious. It's obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not even like they're not even like trying to hide it.
Right.
Like they're just like, oh yeah, Sam, yeah, that, and like literally people would be like, hey, and so like we'd get together and it's just like, all right, we're not talking to Sam, we're not talking to Greg, we're not talking to this person, we're not talking to this person. The only thing they will know is that when the vote is happening. That's it. Like we're not organizing with them, we're not working with them, we're not doing any of that. They're not allowed at committee meetings because they are the cop of the bunch. Mm-hmm. They are here to make it so we have a worse contract, and they are actively working against us. So we get to the vote, we get to the strike vote, and then there's actually, if you go to Twin River, there's like this weird house like right next to it, that's on Twin River Road, and they fucking hate the casino. Like, and so we were initially doing the vote. We were just in the back of the parking lot, and then people could walk up and do it. And then the security team, who is a different union than Unite here, and they didn't support us because the laborers didn't support us at all. And so because the labor and Unite here and the laborers have always had a conflicting relationship, going to even putting the buildings up in Providence, because the laborers union is actively connected to the mafia, and it's just like, whatever we can do for our guys, that doesn't matter. Pretty much anything else doesn't matter. It's what we can do for our guys. Fuck you. If you're not our guys, fuck you. And so because the security guards were the laborers, security guards keep pushing us around, going, and then we ended up having to move to like a mile and a half away, and then we're calling around. We find the number for those people that own the house, and then we park our trailer right there. And so I stayed in that trailer for 18 hours because people would come up and their bosses would be actively harassing them, being like, I'm gonna take your job away, and your child's gonna starve, Anastasia. Or you're like, or Greg, I'm gonna cut every single one of your hours, and there's nothing you can do about it. Which there's obviously things we can do about it, because we have a seniority system, and everyone has actively signed shifts, but they're like, all right, we're gonna do everything we can to violate the contract, to threaten you, to intimidate you, so it doesn't get to a strike vote, because they did not want it to get. They did not want the strike vote to happen. And then there were only 6 abstaining employees the entire thing. And I think it was, I think there's like, 300 people who work there who voted. And like, I was, so my role during the vote was, I was outside when people were panicking. I'm like, you have to do this. Like, I got your back. If they're coming at you, I am a gigantic motherfucker, and I will fuck them up.
It's okay to intimidate for the union. It's
yeah.
not okay to intimidate against the union.
Yes, exactly. And you know, for me, it's just like, you know, you don't want to be a scab. You know, it was basically like, you're either with us or you're against us, and if you're against us, let me tell you, you're not going to have a great time. And you think that's bad? Don't be against us, because it's one guy versus 250 people, 250, 300, whatever number of people were there at Twin River. And so we get to the point of strike. Strike day happens. It lasts for 7 minutes. If you can find video of it, I'm the only person on the megaphone. And I'm the only person that did the interview. And, oh man, I got in so much trouble for that. It was worth it. And guess what? You know, after all that union... all that union's nonsense of saying, of being like, you'll never get a hospitality management job in Providence, you'll never blah blah blah. Well, I am. I'm currently a general manager at a restaurant in Providence, and I was the assistant director of banquets at the Omni Hotel right before the start of the pandemic. So yeah,
Suck it.
that guy's the general manager of the Biltmore. I know you're not listening, but fuck you, Doug. Yeah, just fuck you, Doug. You look like Uncle Fester. Yeah, you know, fuck you. You know, there's people you can say fuck you to, and Douglas Koenig is awful human being, and complain about him on Yelp.
Yelp, every white person's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Yelp. bad
Yep.
Yelp reviews.
Yeah, for some reason they hate the Yelp. It's just like, oh no, Yelp.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
What do we do?
Well, thanks for sharing that story with us. It's super interesting and useful for people who want to unionize themselves.
And also, if you're in a smaller workplace, you can look up Jobs with Justice. Micah Rougeau does everything that he can to support local hospitality workers in a smaller environment that it's much harder to unionize. So I know if you're working in a restaurant, if you're working like in a small crew, and your workers' rights are being violated, make sure to reach out to Jobs with Justice. They'll definitely be able to help you out.
They're a great group.
Hell yeah. So we only have a few minutes left. We could do some rapid fire questions. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles. Throw all the
'Cause
blueberries and stuff on.
Yeah, the little things catch the maple syrup and it's delicious.
I used to do the waffle machine at Hilton Providence, and it's all about those flipped Belgians. Also,
Ooh.
Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles has the best waffles on earth. Hashtag LA boy.
Are we getting a Waffles House in Rhode Island?
I heard we
I
are.
heard we are, yeah.
Sick.
Did you just call it Waffles House?
Yeah.
No.
He pluralized the word. Favorite color Gatorade?
I like I like the orange that's not orange flavored. It's like I think it's like cool citrus or something like that. You get it at the grocery store. It's hard to find, but I think they originally released it for an Olympics, and it's just like I don't know. It tastes like orange, but it doesn't fully taste like orange.
Orange-ish.
Cookies and cream or cookie dough?
Could I do cookie dough with cookies and cream
No.
in it?
No. It's one or the other.
You can't mix.
You can't mix.
You can always mix. I was a culinary
This is America.
student.
You can't.
No, this is a binary situation here. One or the other.
I just believe in I don't believe in the binary.
Hell
So
yeah.
I guess we can combine a little bit. I believe in a non-binary cookie dough.
All right. Favorite vampire movie?
I'm gonna say it's I'm not even sure if it's a vampire movie. It's more of a witch's curse movie, but it's called Beastly. It was it was where this witch curses this like cocky kid and makes him like a cursed EDM DJ, and then like Neil Patrick Harris is blind for some reason. And then there's a scene where they're just hitting golf balls off of a roof in Brooklyn at people, and then they're just going woo, and I'm just like, that's like a $5,000 a month apartment. You're just like hitting golf balls off of. You're just really like explaining your class right here, boy.
Going for it.
Yeah, it's real trash. It's great. There's a scene where there's a Limp Bizkit music video just playing in the background for no reason. And like the guy kind of talks like the Theranos lady. Like he's just like, I don't understand why people just don't like my looks. And there's also an alternative ending to it where like everyone gets shot to death.
I love those endings.
Like if you can find it on DVD, these special features are brutal. Let me tell you.
All right.
You've got my interest.
Any other rapid questions?
Let me think. Applesauce or pudding?
I mean, that could be a non-binary situation as well, but mix
Swirl.
them. I'm gonna, I'm a sucker for a fresh made tapioca.
Ooh, all right. All right.
But
Specific.
But if you got latkes, you gotta throw some applesauce on there.
Yeah, I'm not putting pudding on my latkes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anti-Semitic.
I don't know. That might sound like fun. It could be good.
I'm down to experiment.
Yeah,
with foods, too.
latkes after.
The post-show Latka.
Latkes.
Oh, all right. Thanks for tuning in to PLR Podcast. If you like what you hear, do the social medias. Go find the Patreon. We're going to have merch up soon for backers. Everything from, I don't know, $1 to $20.
Mind if I do a quick shout out over here?
Yep, and hang on a second. And we also have the shirt competition that's going on right now. The designs are technically due in May 20th. So even if you're not an artist or whoever, whatever, just draw up a design and get it in.
All right, I'm doing a quick shout out to Daniel Jesse, who drums and Pondering with me. Check
Daniel
out Pondering. Also, Daniel Jesse has another band called the Avas with Jillian Kay and Nathan, who has also been a member of Lovesick and Hairspray Queen. Everyone, Providence favorite bands.
Great bands.
Also,
Barkley.
Oh yeah, hey. Shout out to Tough Puppy Booking. And Barkley. We love you out there. And also I believe we're playing at the end of the show, but shout out to Great Gale, Gina Dallaire and Jeff Castilli. Have been doing the project for a very long time. 2 other people have been added to it recently. They were featured on NPR's Tiny Desk blog last year at the very start of the pandemic as a featured band. I've been playing shows with them for 5 years. I never thought they got the appreciation in town that they deserve. One of my personal favorite bands in town. And I hope you like them. You can check them out at Great Gale on Bandcamp for their older music, which is acoustic guitar and drums. Very heartfelt, queer, sad music. If you want to listen to very heartfelt, queer, sad music, I highly recommend.
What's the name of the track that we're going to play now?
We're playing, what is it? Oh, it's called Cover Up. This is from the 4-piece band. It was featured on the Tiny Desk blog. And, they have not released any music as a 4-piece besides this track. And I am very excited for that. And Gina Dallaire also has a solo project called They, Them, Femme, which also doesn't have music released, but when you see that, you should check it out because Gina Dallaire is my favorite songwriter in Providence. Next to Ev, of course. Always listen to Palomina as well. All right. I think that's it.
Here it is.
Here we go.
Watching you spin in and out of sync. I watched you slip.